Oh, how good and pleasant it is right now to be here, enjoying the sun as it hits my face, as it hits my body. You know, I can see it setting in the west. I'm here sitting facing the west, and you know, enjoying the rays. A nice breeze is blowing. Yes, I'm in the rock, chilling, you know, getting ready, you know, to do some stuff that I have to do this evening. But I'm grateful. I'm so happy right now to know that, you know, yesterday I went to Occupy Wall Street, down in Zuccotti Park in Manhattan, you know, off Broadway, and it was such a beautiful experience, you know, to be out there, you know, communing with other like-minded souls who at this present time understand what's going on here in America, the last great hope of humanity, where, you know, as things stand right now, there's not enough jobs. You know, the housing crisis is still in effect. You know, people are living in so much uncertainty in a time when we should be certain. We should be certain of one thing, that life is good, that there's a God above. You know, some people might say they're an atheist. And yesterday, in one of my conversations at Zuccotti Square Park, was with this lady who said, you know, I'm an atheist. So I say, you know, that's a belief system. So if I believe there's a God, and I know there's a God, and you believe that there's no God, or you believe, or you know that there's no God, then that's a belief system. Because no man can tell me when we really sit down and we contemplate all these beautiful things that we experience every day, you know, the sun, the moon, the stars, the firmament, the water, the air we breathe, you know, the food we eat, that, you know, there's not something else within the equation that defines us and inspires us to be more than we can be. You know, so, you know, at the end of that conversation yesterday in Zuccotti Park and at the Occupy Wall Street movement, that lady and all had to, you know, think twice, because she and all was able to say that so many of us are walking around here in a form of somnambulism. You know, it's a form of sleepwalking where we just accept whatever is shown at us. We just accept whatever the media tell us. We just accept whatever those who we admire tell us, without having an inclination or the desire to search it out for ourselves. Because if we do so, then we will question authority. We will question the status quo. And we will have concern for our economy, for our families, and for the very things that define us. You know, there's an election cycle coming up. And right now, they're getting ready to put up an okie dokie on us, where they're trying to, you know, say, well, look, Obama's not doing a good job, and therefore let's take the next best leader. It's another hoodwink. It's another moment to bamboozle us. It's another moment to pull a fast one on us. Therefore, it's imperative that each of us takes the time to seek knowledge out and to seek the facts out. Know where you stand. You know, these times that we're living in, you have to know where you stand. You have to know what you believe in. You know what I mean? Not only as a collective or as part of a diversified culture here in America, but part of your cultural identity as an African, as a Nubian, as an original son of Kemet. You know what I mean? As I sit under the sun, I give thanks and praise to the Most High. I give thanks and praise to my ancestors, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for my father, my mother, I wouldn't be here. So I got to give credits and credibility to those who preceded me. You know what I mean? Today we have a lot of youths out there who they don't have any knowledge of self or knowledge of traditions. So we have to, you know, as we examine all these issues, as we examine the right to question authority, we must always honor the right to respect our elders, to respect our community, to respect the things that defines us as a community and as individuals. You know, I say, I stand firm and I stand guaranteed that, look, in this whole movement, I will lend my voice. I will go there every so often and lend a hand, give a donation to the Occupy Wall Street, because I believe in my First Amendment right of free speech, and also the right to keep a fire burning under the ashes of the politicians and the representatives who are put up in office to represent me as a citizen. You know what I mean? That's what we had to do as citizens. What it is, we have forgotten that. And we think that because we elect an officer or we elect somebody to represent us, they're going to do everything that we want them to do. No, it doesn't work like that. What happens is that the special interests and those who have their own agenda to usurp the law and to hoodwink us will influence those very politicians if we are not keeping a fire under them. Therefore, we the people have to advocate. We the people must stand up. We the people must show that we care not only for ourselves, but for our communities and for the nation as a whole. America is the last great hope of mankind. I believe so. Therefore, I'm going to do more examining of the Constitution and how it affects me, because right now things ain't looking good. You think that if you live in a good life and most of the people in the community live in a messed up life, that you could just tell yourself, well, everything is goody-goody? Let's examine history. As we examine history, we see that all great nations rise and fall if they go against the very will of God and they go against the will of nature and the balance that nature needs in order to perpetuate itself. And right now, what's happening in America is that's what's happening. So therefore, the people that occupy Wall Street, in their voices, is a new paradigm of change that is needed here in America and around the world. I mean, here in America, it hasn't gotten violent. Thank God we have a democracy that people try to have a non-violent approach to things. But I tell you, we all have to lend our voices, because guess what? Today is my problem, tomorrow could be yours. Therefore, we have to save the last great hope of humanity. We have to lend our voices, because even in the good scriptures say, the city that was once the world has become the city of our God and King, Yeshua. Therefore, I tell you, my people, give thanks and praise. Be thankful for what you have. Be thankful for the people in your life. Be thankful for the little blessings that you take for granted. Be thankful that you have a job at least. Be thankful for the small things. But also remember, you have to be responsible to give back a little, whatever little it is. That guy you may see in the street asking you for a dime, or asking you for a coffee. Don't always turn your back on him. Don't always, because he might be going through a judgment, that you could tell yourself, well, you're beyond judgment. But all of us have sinned. All of us has come short of the glory of the Most High. Therefore, we have to take it in our hearts and soul to give back, to lend a hand, to believe and trust that everything is working out fine. That at the end game, we the people will prevail. We the people is the voice of God. We the people is the voice of the state. We the people is the one who will affect change. That no race or no creed is greater than another creed or race. But we all God's children, no matter where we're from. We are God's children, whether rich or poor. We are God's children, whether black or white. We are God's children, whether we're Jew or Gentile. We are God's children, whether we're Christian or Muslim. We are God's children, no matter what. So therefore we have to claim that victory. We have to stand up and shout with our little voices to reclaim what is America, the last great hope of humanity. Occupy Wall Street, we all should be joining our voices and shouting for joy. We all should be singing and shout and sing. We all should be lifting our voices. I say, my people, shout with a loud voice right now. Declare the words that is necessary to make that change. Because there's a God in heaven right now who's listening. He wants us to advocate. He wants us to cry out. He wants us to establish righteousness and justice and truth. That we all God's children, no matter who we are, man. I tell you, Occupy Wall Street is only the beginning. Alright, we all got to lend our voices here. You hear me? We all got to do that. No matter what. They can't kill everybody. They can't take everybody out. They can't bomb up the whole world. They can't take all the wealth for themselves. Because look at history. History has always tell you, nation rise and nation fall. But a nation that finds righteousness is a nation that will stand tall. Alright? And I'll tell you today. Oh, give thanks and praise, man. Be grateful for every little blessing. Thank yourself. Thank God that He gave you the strength to be part of this time in history, man. Thank God, for He is God of all. This day, now, and forever.